All right, today we are going to learn how to use some brushes in Photopea. So the first thing that we're going to start with is a new document. So we go to File, New, and we want to name this document. It is going to be your name, whatever your name is, and either a hyphen or an underscore. And this project will be called Stamp Arts.psd. We're just going to call it Stamp Art for right now. Let's change our measurement to inches. Our width is going to be 11, and our height is going to be 8.5, and our resolution, which is your dots per inch down here, is going to stay 72. We want our background layer to be white, and so everything else is going to stay the same, so I'm going to click on Create. Okay, so I start with a new clean canvas. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to press the B key on my keyboard for brushes, and I click on brushes. It's right here. Up at the top, I have a brush picker, which is this, it'll be a preview of what the brush looks like. And I can control the size by dragging the handle here, and I can control the hardness. Hardness is how soft or hard the edge looks. If a brush has a 100% hardness, it's going to have a really sharp edge, like painting with a marker. If I have 0% hardness, it's a really soft brush. It would be like using a really soft feather brush. So the brush lines would be really difficult to detect. We want to stay with 100% hardness for what we're doing. Now in Photoshop, there would be a little gear that we would click on, but in Photopea, we're going to click on this little arrow, and it opens a menu for us. Okay, and when we open the menu, we're going to come down and we're going to choose Load.ABR. So ABR is the brush files that we have, so we're going to click on Load.ABR. And when we do that, it's going to ask us to locate where our brushes are. Now, for everybody in the graphics and video classes at the high school, I've created a network folder. It's the iDrive. Go to Bradley, and then go to Goodies. When we double click on Goodies, then you can double click on Brushes, and you'll see that there's a huge list of different types of brushes that we could use. So I'm just going to pick out food for right now. So I double click here, and I have dinner brushes. There's 20 of them on both of these. The files are different because I see there's a different size. Unfortunately, you can't see what's in the brushes as a preview. So we're going to click on this. We're going to hope it's something good. And so then I'm going to come back up here. Oh, it's loading my brushes. Okay, so I get an error message, or I get a message, sorry, that pops up. It says, load 20 dinner service brushes ABR next time that you use the editor. You can go ahead and say yes or okay. Unfortunately, when you log off your computer at the end of the day, it's going to wipe them. But if you're continuing to work in Photopea on several lessons, it will keep the brushes. So we're going to go back to our brush picker. And now as I scroll down, I'm going to see that it has created some food items. So let's see, let's just get a cup. So I'm going to click on the brush. My computer's got a little bit of a lag this afternoon. So I click on the brush, and I notice, gosh, my brush is way, way too big for my image. My brush is actually 2,500 pixels big. So what I'm going to do is I can come up here and bring my brush size down to bigger or smaller. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see how that's changing. But another option I can do is I can use my bracket keys on my keyboard. The keyboard bracket keys are next to the letter P. And you have a left bracket, which is like a smaller brush. And if I use the right bracket, it makes a larger brush. So right now you can't really see what this image is. I didn't choose a good one. But when I click, now that brush looks like a teacup. Let's go back and see what else we got. Looks like these may be plates. So I click on the plate. I notice it's way too big. So I think hitting the bracket keys in this case might be a little much. Unfortunately, my computer keeps freezing. But I would go ahead and use the bracket key. We're going to pretend that shrinks it down, and then we would stamp another image on that. Okay, so sometimes we find out that demonstrations don't always work the best when we're live. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to use a total of 15 brushes to paint our scene. Now, it's very important that you understand the difference between a scene and a collage. A scene is going to be like if you took a photograph of an event taking place, and a collage is just random images that are kind of set out on the screen. So if I like these dishes, I'm going to use those dish brushes. I may come back up here. What else can we put in the scene for dishes? Let's see if we've got any tables. So I go back to my goodies folder, brushes, and let's see if we have tables. I don't know if I have tables, maybe under furniture. Let's see what these are. Okay, so it loaded my brushes. There's a little bit of a lag still, so thank you for being patient. And let's see what this is. This looks like a big china hutch. I'm going to change the color of it so it makes it look a little bit more realistic, maybe kind of a brownish color. And press OK. And one thing that is a good idea to do, because I've created the other two brushes on the same layer, and so that means I can't move them around later on. So if I make a new layer for my new brush to go on, if I decide that I don't like the size of it, I can go in and fix it later by doing Control-Alt-T. Now right now you guys can see the in the background those dishes that I applied, and I don't like those being on the background layer, so I'm going to, well, let's see, let's paint. Yeah, I can do this. Now you notice that there's a checkerboard as I'm erasing, and you notice that the other thing is it's not erasing the hutch because it's on a different layer. Now the white can be kind of annoying right now where I have the checkerboard, so all I have to do is click here on the background layer. I'm going to get white for my foreground color. And if I use the keyboard command Alt backspace that we've used before, now I essentially just pasted over those other two original cups that we had selected. So let's make a new layer for our cups because we are learning every time that we make a move here. So I make a new layer. Let's go back and find one of those cups, or let's do these dishes. The dishes looked pretty good when we had them a while ago. Again, it's way too big. Now, you're going to notice that my computer is lagging a little bit. Now, I have a ton of things opened on my computer, which is causing it to go a little bit slower. Yours may lag as well. If it does, that's okay. Don't continue to hit a bunch of keys and try to make it go faster because that does not help the situation. So we're going to try to be patient and wait for the brushes to get smaller. So I'm going to click on that brush right there. Oh, goodness, look, I made my eraser. So I think you guys will probably accidentally do that as well. That's a good lesson for you guys to see because I think a lot of us will make that same mistake. So let's choose another dish here. And I'm going to make it smaller, hopefully. And so anyways, so getting back to the instructions, you're going to use 15 different brushes to create your scene. Now it's important you guys understand you are not painting with these brushes. You're only stamping with them. And you'll notice that some of the brushes may appear to be transparent. And if the brush appears to be transparent, you just simply click a couple extra times and the brush will, the opacity will get, let's see, it'll get better and easier to use. So I'm going, I think my brush maybe I made it too small. That looks about the right size for a plate. So I'm going to double click. And actually I ended up triple clicking so that I could make those dishes a little bit darker, because if I just single click, it made it pretty transparent. I can still see through the dishes. When I triple clicked, it made it darker. And if I continued to click again and again and again, it's eventually going to get almost a solid color. I don't know that I would do it solid, because when you do that, you lose a lot of the detail in the brushes. So anyway, that is how you complete this assignment. So remember, as you get finished, you're going to go to File, and we're going to do Save as a PSD. It will name it what we already named our file up here. And then before we finish, we want to go to File, Export As, and choose PNG. All right, so looks like you guys are good on that. And remember, you're building a scene, not a collage. If you have problems or questions, ask your teacher. Sitting there doing nothing is never a good excuse, but we will always help you. Y'all have a great day.